suddenly I felt, there were certain people, not everyone, because I don't like to generalize things. Certain people that were, not kind, that
Mm-hmm.
were very obviously rude or dismissive or not inclusive of me. It was interesting, but I have to tell you that like I feel very blessed to know that that has a lot to do with ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always used to talk to me about that too. The ignorance of people, and it's all fear based, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff comes from a place of fear. And as I got older, I really realized. At first, I realized, oh wait a minute, they don't know me, right? They don't know my family. They don't know the good people that we are, and so there was that in my mind, right? So I learned quickly that there are certain things that I really had to be careful to not take personally because, oh, those people don't know me. They're just
Mm.
generalizing an idea or something like that, right?
Right.
And then my thing was like, well, I'm going to be successful and I'm going to make sure they know me and I'm going to make
Mm.
sure they know who I am. And then I'm going to speak on it.
Oh my gracious.
Even back in high school, Jennifer inspired more than
Él cambia la imagen por vender Bitcoin.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. What's going on? Welcome to Growing Up Latina. I am your host, Alyi V, and I have the beautiful Lisa Vidal. Welcome.
Hola. Hi, beautiful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy that we have finally connected. I feel like I've been like low key stalking you. I her.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but there's so many reasons I wanted you on the show, just because I feel like you are for us in every way. Like you just champion the whole culture, and you're so much about like uplifting other Latinas and supporting us, and like just impacting and making positive change within the community. And so when I think of like, okay, who I want on the show, you're someone that I'm like, no, she has to be on the show. Like, absolutely. So I'm just so happy and grateful that we are just able to make this work finally.
Thank you so much. That just fills my heart. I'm very happy to be here and talk to you. And you're right. Like, I love my community. I love my people. And whatever I can do to uplift, help, encourage, bring attention to whatever needs bringing attention to, I'm honored to be able to do that using whatever I can do on my platform, so yeah.
Where does that drive come from? Like just it's not because for you, it's not even just supporting. Because yes, you do support, but it's like wanting to like make that change. Like you are like pushing it forward. Like where does that drive to even do something like that? Where does that come from?
You know, that's such a great question. I just think that I've always grown up around strong women that were very proud of their culture, and they were hardworking women. And although they persevered through a lot of difficult things, uh, they instilled value in me,
Mhm.
and they instilled um, pride in who I was and being Puerto Riqueña, being Latina, um, and a love for my people and my culture and our music and who we are just as a community. And I think that as a kid, my mom and dad moved us out of the Bronx because it was not a great neighborhood, and we moved to Queens. And my mom and dad wanted a better life for us, better schools. And I dealt with a lot of difficult stuff and I dealt with some racism, and I just saw things that were so ugly to me. And so very early on, it became very important to me to change that narrative, to make sure that my people felt a sense of value and pride and worthiness, because I feel like, wait a minute, you know, um, we are amazing. We are valuable. We are worthy. We contribute so much to society, to the world. So that became really important to me, and
Mm-hmm.
and important for me to kind of like not only represent, but also to like pass along, to younger generations, so that we anyway, in my generation, are aware of how intentional we need to be about that.
That that's the powerful word right there. It's intention. Because I feel like you definitely move with a lot of intention. There's a couple of things I do want to unpack before we like really get into the weeds of things. One, you're from Spanish Harlem, right?
Yes, I'm from the Upper East Side
Originally,
originally. Originally from the Upper East Side, we moved to
me
the Bronx
too.
for a little bit, then we moved to Queens.
Okay, no, me too. There's a lot of synergy. That's why I asked because I'm originally from Spanish Harlem, moved to the Bronx. Um, I can totally relate in terms of like what really goes on in the community in terms of like the racism. And I had this actually happen to me sometime last month where I was like walking to go get my coffee, and I've been living in the Bronx for a while now. So like everyone knows me around here, from like the bodega to the hair salon, they all know who I am.
I love it.
Um, and so I went to go grab a coffee, and there was a guy that kind of came close to me. And I was like, oh, he's a little too close. Like, what's happening? So I kind
Right.
of stopped. You know, like when you stop and you let them walk? It
Yeah.
was one of those moments. And I was on the phone, and I don't remember what the conversation was actually about, but he did say, like, you think because you Latina, you better than us? And I was like, what? I was like, what's happening?
Right.
He had his finger in my face, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I think he's gonna hit me. Like, what is
Wow.
happening? And I've never experienced that. Obviously, in school, you experience some sort of racism, and even within my family, because I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, so there's always like this battle that happens.
Right.
But I never experienced it like that. So I wonder for you, did you experience in your lifetime racism in a way that just had you kind of like stop in your tracks, question like, what's happening here? What's going on? Like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, um, I absolutely did. Suddenly I felt, there were certain people, not everyone, because I don't like to generalize things. Certain people that were, not kind, that
Hmm.
were very obviously rude or dismissive or not inclusive of me. It was interesting, but I have to tell you that like I feel very blessed to know that that has a lot to do with ignorance.
Hmm.
And my mom always used to talk to me about that too. The ignorance of people, and it's all fear based, and
Hmm.
all of that stuff comes from a place of fear. And as I got older, I really realized. At first, I realized, oh, wait a minute, they don't know me, right? They don't know my family. They don't know the good people that we are, and so there was that in my mind, right? So I learned quickly that there are certain things that I really had to be careful to not take personally, because oh, those people don't know me. They're just
Mm,
generalizing an idea or something like that, right?
right.
And then my thing was like, well, I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to make sure they know me, and I'm going to make
Mm,
sure they know who I am, and then I'm going to speak on it. And I just had this kind of drive and mentality to do that. I don't quite know like where that would come from. To me, it's like spiritual. To me, it's like, oh, the Lord put me in that place, and I'm just moving forward with it. But it wasn't in a cocky way. It was more like in an empowering way, you know?
hmm.
And and I think that I feel like I'm quick to forgive and educate ignorance. And I think that
Mm,
that's the big thing right there, right? Because a lot of times people just don't know. And when you educate, and you don't have to do that in a way of like, firing back missiles. I think that when you teach in a certain way where you're really kind of having compassion, you're having patience, you're leading with more love in your heart to say, hey, you don't understand, let me teach you. And then sometimes you just got to bow out when some people don't want to understand or they don't want to accept. You bow out in the sense of like, okay, well, I tried to teach you and now you need to go over there.
right,
It's like that.
right. Where did you learn that skill set? Like just like that form of like, hey, I'm gonna just keep calm, educate, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna carry on. Because
Right.
you were not on the same frequency right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that came from honestly um maturity,
Hmm.
experience, also my relationship with the Lord and who the kind of human being I want to be.
Hmm.
Um and understanding that you can't teach anybody anything and nobody's going to listen to you screaming, being aggressive, being nasty because you just put people in a defensive mode. And so how can you teach that way, right? So I learned that. And so
Hmm.
I choose to try the um the self-control way. And also I've had a lot of really wonderful women in my life that were in leadership roles and I learned from them. And
Yeah.
they and sometimes they would actually point that out to me like you got to take the emotion out of it or they're not going to listen. And
Hmm.
so I learned that. And some of these women, a couple of them, like my really close friends that I've worked with on things, right?
Hmm.
And so when they said it to me and when they talked to me about it, it was like I had mad respect for them. So I was
Yeah.
listening. And the way they were teaching me, they weren't trying to put me down. They were really trying to empower me and educate me about strength and leadership and what does that really mean? And how do
Hmm.
you get that message across? So I think that was really helpful for me. And I just realized, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, you know?
Absolutely. Was there a moment in Hollywood where you had to teach someone and educate someone and make something like a very teachable moment for them?
Oh, all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there are times when, you go on a set and you have people who are maybe feeling insecure about something. And so they mask that with aggression or they mask it with rudeness and again, I am a believer in you teach people how to treat you,
That's right. That's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I see that, I'm like, oh, I see you. I recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten really good at navigating through it. And again, I always approach first with
Mm-hmm.
kindness and goodness. And it's not, a lot of people want to call that people pleasing. No, it's not. It's self-respect and
That's
it's
right.
self-control and it's smart
Yeah.
because the last thing you want to do is create issues, trouble, or enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell someone about themselves in a really nice way,
Mm-hmm.
and that person will get the message, you know? So I think that that's really important when you want to maintain respect, self-respect, and also respect for the other person and the other people on set and in life in general. I'm just saying, but like self-control is huge. It really is.
It
And look,
it is.
I'm not perfect. I lose it sometimes. Okay. If you push me too far, I could doctor, what is it, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, real quick. I mean, I am from Spanish on the Bronx and Puerto Rican, so we all know where we could go with that.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why I know I need to have self control because I know who that
Right.
the girl is, and I'm like, oh, that girl, Sarah, you trouble. Um, But yeah,
I always like in moments like that, I use that almost like a very self-reflective moment for me where I ask myself, like if someone even disrespects me, I'll tap within and say, well, what what about my energy made that person feel comfortable enough to do that? Like
right,
that's really the question that I start asking, like, where did I fall short here? And if the answer is I didn't, then it's like, okay, we have to nip this in the butt, like right away. Because there's no
right. Because sometimes it's the other person's issue.
absolutely
Sometimes you're not even doing anything, and the
right.
other person is just, that's their personality, or they just, like I said, and I always give the opportunity for someone to have a bad day. We all have bad days,
That's
right?
right.
And so sometimes just people just don't want to be talked to, or they don't, and you got to understand that. Like you can't just because I want to talk to you, you got to talk to me. It's, that doesn't work, right? So
Yeah,
sometimes you just give people the permission to be like, okay, you're having a day or whatever. Yeah, that's cool. I'm
you're
gonna leave you alone.
entitled,
Yeah.
but just have a day. Don't have
Yeah,
several
don't
days
be
of it.
like 24/7,
Yeah,
7 days a week, 365 days a year, you know. Yeah, no, no, no,
correct.
no. And it's not, it's just, I read personalities, I read people, and my goal is always to get along with people because I like that. It
Yes.
works well, it's good, and that's why I have so many friends. God bless my friends, and but every once in a while, you have somebody around that's just that person. It's like, okay.
Do you feel like as Latinas, like, do you feel like we have to be strong? Like, do you think that's a trait that we have to like have within?
I just think we are strong. I don't think we have to be strong. I think that we are human beings and we are vulnerable and we have our weak moments, and you know, we should be allowed to fall apart and not be perfect. I mean, I don't know a human being that is perfect and strong all the time.
Right.
So just because we're Latina doesn't, you know, make us different that way. I just think that Latin people, as well as many different cultures, but Latin people have uh, uh, consistently come up against resistance. So I think that we just develop a hard
Mm.
core, you know what I mean? And that we become strong through our situations and our experiences. We just develop a little bit of a harder skin, or we just deal with a lot. We're used to dealing with a lot, you
I
know?
agree. I agree. I even say like, even in terms of growing up, like at least what I saw in my household was my mom was the one that was the breadwinner. My mom was the one that was strong. I if my mom had a bad day, which I'm sure she did, and I'm sure she broke down, I never saw it. I never saw my mom like fall like a beach chair. Never. It was not something that she put out there. And I always tell people like I grew up in an environment where my mom was the one that was the superwoman. She was the one wearing the cape. And
Hmm.
so I'm naturally, because I've seen that growing up, right? Like, I'm attracted to women that have power because that's what I saw growing up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not a person that doesn't like to work or doesn't like to create opportunity because that's what I saw. So I wonder for you, like, how was the family dynamic? Was it the same in your household where like your mom was like that person, or was it your dad? Like, I don't know.
No, in my home, it was the same thing. Like my mom was, she was like La Brava, she was the one
Yeah,
that was like setting the tone, and I grew up around women like that, though. It wasn't just my
yeah,
mom. It was my grandmothers. It was my aunts. Like we all worked. They all worked,
yeah.
and they raised their families. And, it was like,
And still put food on the table.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Abuela Justina was babysitting us when they had to go to work. It was like I grew up very close to my great grandmother, my bisabuela,
Mm-hmm.
because my mom worked and my grandma worked,
Mm.
and my dad worked too. And so, but my mom was like the steady, like, always like making plans for the family, or this is what we're doing or whatever. And again, all the women on both sides of my family actually were working women and
Mm-hmm.
strong women, resilient women. And so, that's why for me as an actress, but also as a Latina in general, but especially as an actress, because there's so many stereotypes in Hollywood of what a Latina woman is and what the world thinks we are. And I really wanted to play roles that, portrayed the women that I grew up with, that I knew. And not only and not, one side of my family there were lawyers and this and that, and the other side of my family was like working women. My grandma had a food truck in front of the welfare building, and she would cook for people, and they would buy food, and she was up at 3 o'clock in the morning cooking food, and just a businesswoman, and so I love my thing was always like, I want to play those women
Mm-hmm.
because we have enough negative stereotypes. We're either portrayed as downtrodden and poor and depressed, and or drug dealer girlfriends or prostitutes, or hot chili pepper, like all
Yeah.
this shit that's like, excuse my language, I'm sorry. No.
No, you're fine.
Um,
You're fine.
that is like, it's kind of negative, you know?
It
And it's
is.
like, I just kind of feel like Latina women we're just so layered. We're so many things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell that story. I want to be a part of telling that story.
If you could write like the ideal script, like in your world in Hollywood, of what our roles should be and what an ideal role that a Latina would play, what role would that be?
You mean like what role that I always wish to play, or
Well,
just
it
in
could be
general?
what you wish to play, or if you was just writing the script and you have to cast like a Latina, what role would she be? What role would she be
Oh my
playing?
God. Well, okay, I'll start with this. I've always, always wanted to play Ripley in Alien.
Yes,
Like that mama bear, she was
yes,
smart, she was badass, she was
yeah.
strong, but she had that mama heart.
Mhm,
And what she goes through in that film to save that little girl's life, and
mhm,
how she came up against so much, and she just kept overcoming. And I love characters like that.
yes.
So it's one of my favorite um, films. And matter of fact, I'm gonna go see the new one tonight. But girl, what? Um, but I love roles like that. I love
Yes,
I love power women. I've played doctors, I've played lawyers, I've played moms who were working moms.
yes.
Um, I definitely want to play a superhero one day. There's so
Love,
many things I want to play. And why not? I mean, look at us.
absolutely.
We're doing our thing. Why shouldn't we be portrayed that way too?
Mhm.
You
You
know?
always mention that like being Mary Jane in your role on that particular series like was one of your favorites. What about that role did you feel like this is the role where I'm thriving of creative control? Because to a certain degree, you did have creative control. You were kind of in on the writing, and not many directors even allow that in Hollywood, but she did. So I wonder, like, what was it about that role that just touched you in a way that probably most roles didn't?
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was that Mara Akil, who is amazing. Um, she made Kara so layered,
Yeah.
and she included me in that. And she really created this character that allowed me to explore all parts of being a woman and a Latina woman.
Yeah.
And so, and it was kind of complicated sometimes, right? But then again, when you think about it, I mean, it could have been any woman from any background, but she just happened to be Latina. So we got to explore a little bit of that. And what does that mean to be this Latina mother that's, in a difficult relationship, marriage, and trying to keep it all together, trying to be boss lady, trying to take care of herself, you know, deal with her broken heart, deal with her friend, her crazy friends, things that she would do, and trying to keep them professional and make sure people respected her, like, and then be a good friend, right? And then allow herself to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
at times, right? So there are all these layers, and really that's who we are. So
Yeah.
getting to explore that in a character on a show like that was magical. It was a dream.
Yeah. And I feel like there's so many parallels as well because if I'm honest, you're like the friend that everybody wants to have because you're like super supportive. I feel like you're in every group chat possible. I feel like the only other person that I even see or hear that they're similar is like Lala Anthony, where like everybody's her friend and everybody loves her. I feel like you're very much a person where just like everyone loves you. Like
Oh,
everyone's kind of like going to you for advice. But I wonder like who do you go for advice?
right. Oh my goodness, that's so funny that you say that. Um, well, first of all, I love my friends. I think that I am intentional, again, that word, about nurturing my friendships and showing people how much I love them and through action, not just words. And I think that that's very important because we all need love and friendship, and we all, need somebody to be strong for us sometimes. And um, so I like to step in to be that friend. And I think for the first time in my life, honestly, I have gone through the tragedy that I've gone through and had to say, I'm not strong right now.
Wow.
And I can't really have people leaning on me the way they're used to leaning on me. And so it was really interesting to see who was going to stand with me and be by my side through you know, my
Yeah.
time of broken heart and tragedy and everything else. And it's beautiful how my friends have stepped up, so many of them, and some in Hollywood and some not in Hollywood, and how they showed up for me, and that speaks volumes to me.
Hmm.
And not everybody can be there every day, but like I have so many friends that each one we step into each other's lives, and 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 being able to accept when somebody is not at their best, right? And still be their friend and
Yeah,
still be okay with that. And sometimes you just sit with somebody and you don't say anything, you know
that
you
part.
just be with them. That's friendship. And I am so blessed because I don't think I could have gotten through what I've been through without that and without my faith. And that's the
Mm.
truth. And then there are those people where I just needed to let them go because they didn't know how to be there for me, and I just couldn't. I was like,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Hmm.
That's okay.
I think it just takes like this selfless type of attitude to kind of like put your feelings aside to be able to be there for someone. I don't think a lot of people have that. So when you find like that tribe, like it's crucial that you stick by their side and vice versa because like I said, there's not many people that just have that in them. Like
No.
that's like few and far in between. Like I promise you, I only got like four people like that in my life that totally I could just call them and not say anything. If they hear silence, they're right here.
Yeah.
So that's very special.
Yeah.
Um, where does your faith come from? Because I do feel like you've had moments in your life where you have been tested, in moments where if it was me, if I'm honest, I probably would have questioned God, but you leaned toward God. Where does that come from?
Yeah. It's not that I don't question God. Me and God be having some arguments. We have some conversations,
Yes.
but that is exactly the gift that I get to have those conversations, and that
Yes.
that He loves me anyway, and that He accepts me anyway because that's exactly what He expects of me. You know, to go through what I've been through, who would expect anything less, right? And so I decided to lean into the Lord because, first of all, there are so many things that showed me that that is exactly what I needed to do. But also, if I'm going to talk this talk, then I got to walk the walk. And in the sense of like, is this real? Right? And there's nothing that will test you more than something like what I'm going through and what I've been through. Um, and that's why I go back to moments of even acceptance for myself and my own vulnerability, my own weakness, my own anger, my own normal emotions and feelings that I have to um, be kind to myself about. And
Mhm.
really, it's about us being kind, really, really to ourselves and not worrying about what other people are thinking about us.
Yeah.
It's about, no, like, I'm in this place right now. I'm in this space right now, and I need to get through this. And part of getting through it is allowing yourself to go through the emotions, the gamut of emotions that you go through. Because when you try to bury it, try to cover it, it's not a good result. It's not a good ending. And so, um, and I feel like this is so much bigger than I am. And it's also something that I'm walking through because I can understand someone else walking through it. And I am able to walk through it with other people. And so there is a gift in that because it's also part of the healing process. Um, so where does my faith come from? I mean, I've always been raised with faith, like with, going to church but I got into my deeper faith when my favorite aunt, I love her so much. She started taking me to Bible study, and honestly, like, she and I just talked a lot about faith and spirituality. It wasn't the act of going to church so much. It wasn't the act of being in a group of people. It was really the act of having relationship with God
Mhm.
and with myself, and my own spirituality. And then not wavering in the sense of like, well, I don't know. And I said, you listen, some people are on the journey to figure out, well, what do I believe in? And yeah, that makes sense. The
Yeah.
world is a crazy place right now, and what we're all going through. So there's so many people that feel lost, and I go through sometimes senses feeling like, oh my God, right? How can we not? We're human,
Yeah.
right? So
Everyone goes through it, and I always say like grief comes in so many phases and stages. And even if you think you're over it, sometimes it hits you a year later, you start crying about it. You're like, what the hell is happening? And
absolutely,
it could be anything. Like I recently just grieved like a friendship, and she didn't die or anything. We just were no longer friends. And we
right.
had like such a really solid, like literally one of my best friends. And we just kind of mutually agreed that we just were no longer in the same space.
Yep,
And just even grieving that friendship was
sure,
so hard for me. Like I was like, why am I feeling what I'm feeling?
right.
Like, what is happening? So I think, again, it could be any situation, a marriage, a friendship, a family member. It's just, you have to go through it. You just have to
Absolutely,
go through it. It's
absolutely.
important to have faith. Listen, like I said, there have been times where I've questioned God, like, God, what are you trying to show me in this moment right
I
now?
know. I
Trying
know.
to get
Yeah.
the lesson.
Where
It's
are you?
crazy.
Right.
Yeah, where are you? Like, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about Latinas Acting Up.
Hmm.
It's so special. So, so, so special. Like, what, how did you come up with the name? Because I know it's you and you have a partner as well. So how did
Yeah.
this all come about?
Okay. So the name was totally Diana Maria Riva. And the idea of getting together with some of our girlfriends was also Diana's idea. she called me up and she was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about um getting a few of our girlfriends together. What do you think? Let's strike together. Let's go pick it together and all that." And I said, "Absolutely." She says, "You know everybody. So can you help me like get a few of our friends together and we'll go do it?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So I started reaching out to a bunch of our girlfriends, and Deanna was so cute. She had the idea to make up some t-shirts for us, and um, her boyfriend had made up the design, and we just thought it was going to be fun, and we'd play some music with our girlfriends. But what we didn't realize was how impactful it would be and how necessary it was in our community. How Because every week we just it was like people were coming and join, like, can we be with you? We're Latin, we're Latina. Can we
Yes.
come? And we were like, yeah, sure, yeah, come on, come on. And so more and more of our friends started to show up too. Like, as we every week we would reach out to more of our friends, and it just kind of grew into this thing. And me and Deanna were like, oh my God, like, this is something, and we need to step up and just go for it and just do it. Like, so it was like a call to action. We saw a need in our community, and we decided to act on it. And now it's become this whole platform.
Yes.
And we love how it's nurturing um, our fellow Latina actresses and people and women in the entertainment industry, and how uh, so many people have gotten connected and not feeling this can be a very isolating industry,
Yes.
and it can be a lonely business. And it was I felt also, Mia and Deanna felt that it's like it was also a way of connecting our community as a whole together, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're Dominican, Colombian, Guatemalan, Puerto Rican, Mexican, it doesn't matter. We're not like making that the focal point. The focal point is that we're all Latina
That's right.
and we need to stick together. And so um, that has been the theme. And now, we get to mentor Latinas with different professionals in the industry. We get to teach them about self-care. We get to encourage, working together and being creative together and all these wonderful things. And we're kind of just growing this platform. And now we have something called Casa LAU, which is kind of like a Facebook for our Latinas Acting Up. And on LAU, you can connect with people. You can talk about what you're working on. You can ask for support in social media.
I love
We
that.
even have people that, like, if you don't have a dress for a red carpet, somebody else might lend you one. Or, it's a
So good.
community to support and encourage and empower one another and each other. And it's just, me and Diana, and now we have our board, Gina Torres, Angelique Cabral, Constance Marie, and we have our high profile celebrities that are joining as well. It's been amazing. And we feel like we're being of service, you know?
Yes.
And that is
Yes.
the best feeling of all, when you're doing something for somebody else.
And you know what I find is so great about this as well? Like, oftentimes you don't hear like friends kind of working together because it can get a bit catty. But in this particular scenario, like you guys are like working together. You guys have the same initiative, objective, and you guys are like really like pushing this thing forward. And
Yes,
like you said, it's a community where it's just like a group of friends, and now you're growing it into like this. It's like it, it, this whole thing just made it out the group chat and you guys are
right.
just like inviting everyone in. And I think the
Yeah,
message for this is it's not like you know how they say you can't sit with us? I think the message is the opposite here where it's like, no, pull up a seat. You can sit with us. And I
very true.
love that.
Yep,
I love
exactly,
I love that.
exactly.
What are some of like the initiatives that you have like going into 2025? Like have you guys even thought about like some events or just things that you may have like coming down the pipeline?
Hold on, mommy. Somebody's at my door. One second. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Who is that?
No, no worries.
Oh my God. I was like, That's my yeah. So I want to quickly say that, me and Deanna too, like, I mean, I've always been a connector, and I think that's why I have so many friends, because I love people and I love my community, like I said. But we've also had great examples of people, like Eva Longoria. She's our girlfriend, and she's always, you know, gotten us together and
Love
doing
her.
things together. And she's an amazing person and empowering woman, and she's smart and talented and gifted, and she's a good friend. And
Yeah.
and then we have Monica Ramirez, who's been mentoring us a lot, and just showing us how to do this, with this platform and how to grow it. And, Monica has other people that she works with that have been incredible, that have been helpful. And, Olguita Segura and Elsa Marie Collins. And these are women who have incredible platforms themselves. And we're learning.
Yes.
And that's it. It's like we passed the baton. Chrissy Hellberger, she also like, these are women, their leadership skills. And so Deanna and I are learning a lot about how do you lead a big group of people like this, on this
Yeah.
kind of a platform, because we want to do it right. We want to get it right for our community. So I wanted to add that it's so important that we learn the right things from the right people, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Nobody comes into it knowing everything.
But
Um,
you're doing it, and that's the
yeah,
most important part. Like you're doing.
yeah,
That's special.
yeah. And so to your next question, you said, what are the plans, right? Like, where are we
Mm-hmm.
going with it? So that's the exciting part, is that we've got such big dreams for it. Like,
Yeah.
we want to be able to, God willing, raise enough money at times that we could do our own short films, and we can do film, writing labs and film labs, and, create our own shorts for our members to be able to shoot our own stuff and produce it.
Yes.
We want to be able to take the power into our own hands and not wait for anybody else to do it for us. And we
Yeah.
can, we can. We are a powerful community, and we need to know that the power is within us. We don't need to look outside of ourselves for the power. And we just need to work together. And we need to
I
work
love
together
that.
in a good way. You know what I mean? In a productive way. So, I mean, we have dreams and goals. We're working with some people in women in film, and they're teaching us about, doing a lot of things as well. And we want to create like an Essence Awards for Latinas, for
Oh,
Latinas Acting Up,
amazing.
right? We got big dreams,
I'm
me and Diana, on the
manifesting
board.
this for you.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I love this. I love this
So
space.
yeah, so we've got incredible women that have volunteered, our members volunteering to, communications director, social media, legal things, accounting. Like, it's amazing how this is growing. And these women are just like, I can help. And, nobody's getting paid. Everybody's doing this on their own time,
Mhm.
out of the goodness of their heart, and wanting to take action and be of service to help the community. So it's pretty special. It's pretty special.
It's very special. Any way that Growing Up Latina can help, you let us know.
Thank
We would
you.
love to absolutely assist in anything that you need, even if it's just pushing the message forward. Like we are here for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely love this. And I'm just wishing you all the best in this endeavor because it's truly a special thing. And I see it. I honestly see it for you.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. You know what?
Of
And thank
course.
you for saying that, because we are going to need people like you to help us get there, right?
Let's
It
do
takes a
it.
village. It takes a
Hmm.
village, and we have to work together. So, of course, our getting our platform out there, more visibility so that people know we're there, that
Yeah,
we are available to them, is huge, and I think that when we all do that for each other, we can accomplish really great things in our community,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see everything unfold.
Amen. Prayers up.
Yes. Let's
Great.
get into some rapid fire questions. Are
Okay.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina.
Uh, I like to dance salsa and cook Puerto Rican food. Is that what
Yo,
that means?
you absolutely love to dance. Like that is in your spirit.
I
I'm
do.
always watching you. I'm like, oh my God, she loves to dance. Like this is
Yes,
where like this like youthful spirit to you just comes from. Like you just love dance. You love music.
I love it. I do.
Like
It
you love
awakens
music.
something in me. Yeah,
So crazy. Okay.
yeah.
What's your favorite Latin dish?
Oh my God. I love pasteles.
Yes.
Pasteles with arroz con gandules, aguacate, and tostones con mojito,
Yeah.
I would say, with some Tabasco on it.
Yes.
So
Um,
rique.
yes. What's one thing you need in the morning?
Oh God, my coffee. My coffee. You know, and I used to make café con leche every morning, honestly. I've become a little lazy, so we have, one of them pod things,
Yep, yep.
but I need my coffee, definitely.
Listen, I love pods. Like I own an espresso, but there's nothing like coffee from the get go. Nothing at all. It just hits
Oh my
different.
God, no. Absolutely. What?
What?
Forget about it. I used to be
Yeah.
making it in the sock and everything.
Yes. Oh
My
my
husband
God.
called it a sock. He's like, "Are you doing the sock coffee?"
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What's the last movie that made you cry with laughter? It was so funny that it actually made you cry.
Oh my God, the last movie. I have to say, I always go back to my oldies. I really do. Like, I literally just watched You've Got Mail. And I freaking
Really?
love that movie. I
I know,
love
it's a
that
great movie.
movie. Mrs. Doubtfire is one of my favorites. And
Yes.
every time I watch it, I cry with laughter. It just
Yes.
cracks me up. Robin Williams was one of my favorite actors.
So
Um,
amazing.
but yeah, I've actually so recently, honestly, I haven't been watching that many comedies, which I didn't even realize. I've been watching more drama stuff.
Okay. Um, what does it mean to you to be Latina?
Wow, that's a loaded question. What does it mean to me to be Latina? I would say that what it means to me to be Latina is to know how special that is and how wonderfully it sets me apart from just anybody. I bring my own flavor, my own thoughts, my own strengths, my own experiences, my own proud moments that no one else can tell me I've lived or not lived. And I have this incredible community and all this fabulous music and food available to me. And I love color, but in such a beautiful way. I love the smells of things that I recognize, of food that not everybody knows. And how I just love, like when I went to Puerto Rico, like how everybody just gives hugs and it puts on some music and starts dancing. I'm like, you know, there's so many things. There's so many
Yes.
things. There are things that there's a flavor that I bring to a role that nobody else is going to bring because it's my flavor, right? So that to me is part of my Latinaness.
Yes. What is this chapter of your life called?
Wow. Renewal, restoration, and new beginnings,
Love
I would say.
that. If you had an opportunity to have the Last Supper with three Latinas, dead or alive, who would they be?
Jeez Louise. Was Mother Mary slightly Latina? They had to be a Latina one in there somewhere. Oh my, Celia Cruz. Wow. You know what? Because one of them is still alive, so I'm not gonna say her. I'm not gonna say her. Okay, they don't have to be famous, right?
No, and they could be dead or alive.
Oh.
Dead
Okay,
or
well, because
alive.
I was thinking that I actually would really, really love to meet like my great 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 grandmother.
Oh, yes, that's
I
special.
would love that. Would be super duper special to me. And you know, whichever Virgin was like the most Latina, I would love to have lunch with her too.
By the by the way, I I mean this is what episode 54, 55. There hasn't been not one Latina. I promise you, when I ask this question, everybody says Celia Cruz. Everybody. Not one Latina that says, and they're the first, I mean, she's the first person everyone says.
Oh
Literally, like
my
I'm not
gosh.
getting goose, but everyone says Celia Cruz. Everybody.
She was, you know what? She was just everything to me. Like I just feel like she was so incredible and so talented and so vivacious. Yet she suffered a lot and she went through so much. And she had such a humility about her.
Yeah.
With that great talent that she had, she was just beautiful. Like she just, I don't know, every time I saw her, especially performing, she was like a light and she just had that thing. There was something about her that was so like incredible, just
Yeah.
so much
She's
about her.
amazing. Like I
Yeah.
feel like at some point I'm gonna have to like put up videos where like you hear everyone's response. It's like mind
Yes.
blowing. Like I
Yes, that
love
would be
her.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something you would want to work on that you haven't already?
Well, I am working on honestly producing. I want to
Yes.
produce big stuff for our community and I want it to be diverse. I don't want it to be I want to I want to produce superhero movies that
Yes.
Latino actors in it. I want to, like I told you, produce television too and produce alien movies that have Latino, these kinds of things.
Yes.
Like series, television series, like whether it's comedy or not, um, that, for example, whether it's a medical show or it's This Is Us or, we belong there too. And,
Absolutely.
not telling our stories, not the same consistent negative stereotypical stories that are told that I'm not interested. I don't want to hear about another cartel movie or
Yeah.
this, that. I'm just kind of over it. So I want to be producing, acting, and directing in those movies. Like I got big dreams.
Period. I love this. If you could tell your younger self one thing about making it in this industry as a Latina, what would it be? And why do you think it's crucial for the next generation to hear us?
I would tell her, don't ever doubt your gifts and your talents. Don't be afraid. Be bold and courageous like a lion and go for it. And I think that's important because we come up against so much in the world that if we don't carry those things, we can easily be toppled and it can sabotage our dreams and our success. And we need those things to succeed and to choose, right? I think this might be getting into a little bit more, but like we have to make good choices. We have choices. You have
Yeah.
to choose happiness, choose joys, choose good, uh, choose confidence, even when you don't feel confident.
Yeah.
You know, you know. My one of my acting teachers, who was my favorite in high school, Anthony Abeson, he used to say, in the moment, in a scene, if you're not feeling something or you're not getting to what you want to get to or something, you just act like you are. Fake it. Like just think that you are, right? And it'll come. Like he used to tell us that, and I was like, man, that's so true. Because living in the
Okay.
moment of reality, whether that, even if the reality is like, shit, I'm not getting there. If that's the reality, then play the reality. whatever that looks like to you as an actor in the scene as this character, play that.
Right.
So I think that's true in life too, you
It's,
know?
you know what? It's so, you're so on point with that. Mel Robbins, who's one of my favorites, I love Mel Robbins. And she kind of broke down the ideology between confidence, right? And it's basically exactly what you said. Like she said, like some people tell you you have to feel confident. And she's like, confident is not a feeling. Confident is an action. The feeling comes after you take the action.
That's
So
right.
you have to act like you're confident in order to feel confident. And
Right.
it's exactly that.
That's absolutely true. And by the way, and there's a big difference between confidence and cockiness. We're
That's
not
right.
talking about don't be cocky, be
No,
confident.
that's
Right.
right.
There's
That's
a
right.
difference.
All right, last question. Well, it's kind of like a finish this sentence. Finish this sentence. Growing up Latina is.
Growing up Latina, something everyone should get to experience. You know, growing up Latina is a world of information, goodness, love. I just feel like in general, you you experience so much. And you doing Growing Up Latina as your platform is such a beautiful introduction to what you can learn about all those kinds of things. You know,
Thank
But
you.
what you do is awesome, Mama. You putting it all out there, and that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. I love you so much. I'm a fan, like literally a true fan of yours. So I'm so happy that we were able to get this done. I'm also looking forward to meeting you in person and
Yes.
manifesting this.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
When you're in New York, so God
Yeah.
willing, we can try to maybe have lunch, meet for coffee, un
Yes.
bucerito, algo, un cafecito,
Something.
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 Absolutely.
Yes. But thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
You're
Let
welcome,
people
sweetheart.
know where they can find you, your Instagram. Also let them know about like the website of Latinas Acting Up and just where we can find out more information.
Yes, absolutely. So on Instagram, I'm at the real Lisa Vidal. On Twitter, I am at the Lisa Vidal. And Facebook, I'm just Lisa Vidal. And on Instagram, you can go to our page of at Latinas Acting Up. And in the bio, if you are a Latina in the entertainment industry, you can go into our bio on the page on Instagram, and it will take you right to the registration. And yeah, and what do you call it? We have a what is the TikTok thing? Yeah,
You have
Latinas Acting
TikTok?
Up. Yes, there's a TikTok for Latinas Acting Up.
Love
Um,
it.
we just kind of started it. And I mean, I have that, but I don't do that much of it. Tell you the truth, I can barely keep up with what I have now. So yeah, that's how you find me. And that's how
Awesome.
you
You
find
guys heard
Latinas
it.
Acting Up. And Diana
Let's
Maria Riva, by the way, my co-founder is at Diana Maria Riva on Instagrams.
perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of your day. You look
thank
beautiful.
you,
Hair is
sweetheart.
stunning. Go get
Uh,
some fresh air, something.
I know I was like, I should do something with his hair.
Yes. All right,
All
girl.
right, thank you,
Thank you guys.
sweetheart. Take care. God bless.
All right. Thanks.